I would like to ask about the Powerwolf game. Like you mentioned a bit about it, that it's a different concept than Therion, but how did that came to life? Like, how did that started?
Powerwolf game started because it was a period in which I listened a lot of Powerwolf song. I was completely inside the Powerwolf music. I was really happy. Yeah, that's Powerwolf. And yeah,
All Powerwolf. All wolves are here.
yeah, uh, and uh, and I start to think to create a new heavy metal game. And talking with my German distributor, I said, "Yeah, I have this idea. They are German, Powerwolf are German from Germany." So distributor was said, "Yes, was really interesting. Show me the game." And I said yes, but with time. I have to create the perfect game before show you the game. So I start to work in a game idea, and in the same time I start to have a contact with Powerwolf, because is the most important thing I try to explain with the band which I work on is I'm a board game publisher. I love board games. I love heavy metal. I don't want to create a gadget. That's really important. I have no any interest to create a gadget. I love to create a good board game in your completely filled in your world. So it's not easy if you contact manager of the bands just by email. Yeah, board game. Yeah, no, you want to create the belt with the name of the band. You want to be rich with our name. Sometimes that could be a problem. Yeah, because there is a lot of things, but this is not my way to work. I want to create a board game. I want my customer, people who know Scribubs as a board game publisher, know that I am a board game producer. So if you present a useless game, is completely full.
Disaster.
Yeah, it's a disaster. So that's not my idea. I want to have a good idea for the band. So if I'm inspired to work with Powerwolf, I think to create the real good game for Powerwolf. Then when I present the game to the manager and to the band, or I have contract, is different also, and I know this is my idea of perfect game for the band. That's is inspired by the band, and is a good game. That's really important. For this reason, I worked also for the Powerwolf game with Marco Valtriani, the same of O11. But for two big reasons. He is metalhead. and he is a great game designer. So this is the way, because what I want to I love to create is when people fan of Powerwolf listen Powerwolf music, have some feeling from the band, some sensation.
Yes.
If you play the Powerwolf game, I would like to create the same sensation.
Okay.
That as player. And there is a lot during the fairs when it was possible to make fairs. Sometimes people play the game and never heard about Powerwolf and was satisfied and played the game. Yeah, I explained during the board game fair. I explained the game, and in the end, when people play the game, I said, "Do you know Powerwolf?" Sometimes the answer is no.
What is this?
Okay, yeah, the Powerwolf are very crazy wolf. Yeah, that's all. That's all. Maybe they was not metalhead.
Is Wolf with power?
Yeah.
Here is one. I just didn't have time to open. Yes, we're looking forward to play.
You didn't open it.
No time.
Okay.
Yeah, when we received the first one, we opened and put it up, and I read the instructions, and then I was like,
No.
my brain freezed. I couldn't understand. We had to watch the video.
The Powerwolf game. You're talking about the power.
Yes.
It's really easy. Choose one card altogether, play in order, move your pawns, and kill the Strigoi. That's all.
Maybe we should play with you.
Then we got it, and that was easy. But at the beginning, because we didn't play the games for like a very long time, it was total brain freeze. So we actually watched people on YouTube how they play, so we could play.
Anyway,
it's very interesting, and every time we played, we had different ends, so it's very good.
I never played a metal board game, so after this interview, I have to come by when the lockdown is down, and I need to come by Nick and Veronica and look at the Powerwolf game and
You have
play.
to buy the Therion game. We miss the Therion game.
Yeah, but with whom am I going to play? With the invisible person in my room?
No worries.
Game is a bit complicated than Powerwolf game.
Okay.
No, not too much.
I'm ready for it now. Yes.
Yes.
But you are invited in Italy as soon as possible.
Yeah, and then we will play board game.
Yeah, to play with. Yes, in summer I have my house in south of Italy, close to the sea, and we can play there.
Yes, I did.
We are in.
And a big subway, that will be amazing.
Yeah.
The number experiment.
Good food, good sea,
Oh,
and more games.
Great for
Okay, we can stop about board games. You wanted to ask something different.
yeah, I'm sorry. I have to play now. I have all the background information after this interview, so I'm going certainly play a board game. But now about process. I'm wondering about what do you do when you have a creative wall, so you're not able to proceed further with your idea. Do you have any walls?
Yeah, I made my passions. I transfer my passion into my job. So, and this is the reason I work in very different sector. For example, improvisation theater. I started just just because I saw a spectacle of theater improvisation. Is amazing. If you don't know theater improvisation, go to see some show because it's amazing. Anyway, I started to work with improvisation theater as a student. Then after some years teaching and mixing also the experience as a theater improvisation actor with my music, with my games. with my writing. Yeah, I mix all the things, and this is for me is fantastic, because I started to play theater improvisation spectacle in France. I studied French at school, and after playing theater in not your first language, in not your how is called
Mother.
yeah, mother language, is completely different, because you have to talk with
You have to give more.
yeah
To try more.
yeah not with the words, but with the physical interaction. So we are Italian and we move our hands every time, but when you are yeah but when you have to move all your body is quite different. And then I played improvisation workup in Montreal in Canada, and was a fantastic experience when you meet French guys, Canadian guys, Switzerland guys, and you are on stage with them without any idea where the story will bring you. So is really fantastic. And so my passion became also in this case parallel job, because writing, I put my experience in theater in my writing. I create some improvisation writing stage. So improvisation but writing, and so it's strange for me to have but just when I in the south of Italy, front of the sea. Yeah, that's the moment in which I don't create anything, and and I stay. That could be interesting, but I think I hope to continue to have every time some ideas, some projects, some different things. For example, also steampunk elements. When we put on stage the musical version of the Experiment No.Q, I worked on the scenographies. Physically, I use my hands to create some parts of the scenography, of the set. I love to do this. And this is not my first activity, but this helped me probably to take my time. In fact, is working. No, I don't know if there are moments where I don't create. No, is life is something continue creating. Every moment you create something.
Yes.
That's for sure.
For me, there is two ways to work. For example, in graphic artwork, if I create artwork for Scribab's board game, for my own board games, I work directly in the graphic design. Is for me is a sort of storytelling experience, also artwork. In fact, in the end, I'm just a storyteller, because writing music, I tell stories. Creating games, I just tell stories. On stage with the theater improvisation is stories. So what I think is just I love to tell stories, and sometimes in the board game is graphic artwork for me is a way to tell my my stories. When I work for other publishers, sometimes I create artwork for other publisher. I completely respect their ideas. I follow the step, and sometimes I add my opinion about some choices, and I don't work good if someone said me, do this, do this, do this, and do this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not the person for you. Okay. Yeah, no, because if I'm forced to
yeah.
do something completely different, but I listen, as I said, listen is really important. So I listen. I want to understand your feeling, and I want to send back your idea with my touch. That's that's the same way when I I write a music and the music come to me. I want to work in this. I like to work in this way. Adding, every person have to add his personal talent. If someone said me, if someone said me, oh, I want this and you have to do this. I did something like this in the last years, because sometimes you have to pay the bills, and so in some moments it's possible you accept some work you don't like too much, but you don't like. I discover I don't like in the end, never in the first approach.
Cool. So, Paolo, can we speak a bit about your experiment number Q? Tell us a story about. And yeah, have some guests with you also.
No, of course. Without, I. Okay, that's one.
That's one.
Yeah, this is the sound engineer in the video. Puppets in your hand. Yeah, and I have another guest here. Just 1 second, because he's shy, bit shy. Okay. Yeah. This is the singer of the Puppet in Your Hands song. But okay, this video is completely out of the story of the experience.
How did you came up with creating it? And when I saw it for the first time, I was like, wow, this is so awesome. It's so funny. It's so, it's just very different from anything else.
was one of my ideas, crazy ideas, and the strange things is when I have a crazy idea, people follow me, even if they know me. For example, for this video, I have a friend in south of Italy. Is a director of movie. Is a movie maker and director, and Emanuele Favale. And it was Christmas of 2 years ago. Yeah, I think 2 years ago. And starting from Torino, I want to go for New Year's Day in south of Italy. To come back with my friends, and I had the idea to shoot the video with the puppets, and I called him and I said, okay, we can organize the set at my home. And he said, but set for what? For easy video with puppets, and he said, but you need the suite. How is called the full suite? The costume, the green screen costume, a full green screen costume. Okay, ordered by internet. The day after, I have to start, so I received this costume and I go to the south, and we shoot 2 days in in my house, and think my house was in restoration. Was so it was really cold. No, there weren't any for.
Heating.
Yeah. So the room was empty, but it was cold, completely cold. And we shoot 2 days. Me just with the costume, the green costume with the puppet, and and I create. Oh, it's hot inside, and I created the drums, the drum puppet, and he said me every moment, "You are fool, and I'm stupid because I followed you." But you are fool, and to make the video after shooting, to make the video, we work. I guess not continuing, not in the continuing, but we worked 4 months, I guess.
Yeah. Wow.
Because my costume was in a different green from the green screen, so was completely crazy to make, because I have the idea and made it. I didn't reflect to what I have to do in the right way, in the perfect way. No, I have no time. We have just 1 week to do that, and so I did it. Anyway, it was nice to shoot, and we are still friends with the.
That's good.
Yeah, and how Nocturnal Photography says, the crazy ideas are normally the best, and yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, but you have you must have the large shoulder. In Italy, we say the large shoulder when the people is against you and say you bad words. And to stay, you must have a large shoulder.
It's an interesting saying. Okay.
Yeah.
And have you ever played with Experiment No.Q
Yeah.
live?
Live.
Or live in Europe?
We played a couple of times, one in Lincoln, in Lincolnshire, in England. Yes, during the steampunk festival called Asylum. Yeah, it was fantastic for me because it was summer 2016, I guess. Yeah, 4 years ago or 3 years ago. Maybe 3. Anyway, was fantastic because on stage we are steampunk dressed. We are, that was a steampunk festival, so all the crowd was steampunk dressed, and playing. I was saying, "Oh, what the fuck! These fantastic costumes! Oh, look at this!" I was looking people in front because their costume was fantastic. Was not only stage costume you have to play, but you have to be free. So it was nice. I have on stage sometimes a mask, a steampunk mask. But okay, but playing and looking people, there were some fantastic costumes. So I was fascinated from the crowd. And then we played in Salamanca, in Spain. Yeah, for a festival we are invited, and for this was nice because we started with a camper from Italy, and I drove till Barcelona. Here we bring Nalle, who are arriving from Sweden by plane. Then we go in Madrid, and we bring Oxy, who are arriving from France, from Paris. Oxy is our singer. And then we go in Salamanca We play late at night. Was devastating. We was absolutely. Um, Whitby Gothic weekend. Yeah, I don't know when is, but send me the address. Maybe they are interested to have the Experiment No.Q there.
So for the viewers and for me who doesn't know what is it, can you explain a bit what's the Whitby Gothic Weekend then?
Me, I don't know
No.
this.
So we all have to check out. That's a good suggestion. Something to read and. So,
Cool.
cool. We learned we have some homework, all of us, to do.
But I have to say how in real born the experiment. As I said, I wrote songs since I was young. Okay, that's a story. But in my career, I stopped to play guitar for a long time because I worked as a graphic designer. So uh, I had a hole in my guitar playing. Anyway, when I worked with Therion for the board game, one day happened this. Nalle Paulson, the bass player of Therion, asked me some figures of the game, handmade painted. I have a set of handmade paint figures, and I left to him. I said yes, and he said me, "Oh, I have to pay you." And I said, "No, you are one of the figures, so it not make sense you pay me." No, I want to pay you. And so I said, "Okay, this means when I will decide to record my first album, you will play a couple of songs." And he said, "Yes." He never heard anything of my music. He never heard anything of my music production. But he said, yes, of course.
So Noctura. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And so this enlightened the idea to realize, in fact, all my music, all my songs written and put in the not in the, I don't know, in cassetto. In Italiano it's cassetto. Okay.
Cassetta.
Okay. So since I know a lot of musicians for my activities, but not like musician, I called Andrea Palazzo. Andrea Palazzo is an Italian guitarist from Naples. He's very skilled guitar player, and I said, "Hey Andrea, Nalle from Therion said he would love to record something of my album. Do you want to play?" And he said, "Oh, if Nalle say yes, why not?" I say yes. And this collecting, another crazy idea in which people followed me, collecting some people from my activities. I met Mattia Garimano, and I explained he have the label Anima Recording. He is a sound engineer, drummer, and owner of the label. So to realize the project, I need a recording studio. I need professional people. So I met him, and I explained the project, and I said, "This is the project." And he said, "Yes, why not?" So in this way, I booked bed and breakfast close to the recording studio. I called all the people there. from Sweden, from France, from all the people, and just I think 1 week before, 1 or 2 weeks before, I sent the song to them, and the song recorded by me, my original tracks. So, in fact, quite horrible in the idea. It was they were just the idea. Then in this week, all together in the bed and breakfast, there were people never met him before, because Andrea never met Nalle never met Mattia. So people, and we worked for the song, and for me was absolutely great. And in fact, part of the name, the experiment, was because this was just an experiment. And the most fantastic thing for me, after recording, after releasing, after the album was done, was in fact people was interested to make the second parts of the story when we started for the second. And that was interesting, because the project could end with just one album.
Yeah.
Because okay, nice experience, okay, that's all. In fact, it was not, because all together we was really happy to work in this project. And for this reason, the Experiment No.Q is not really a band, is a family. Is a family, because sometimes we played with Kevin. For example, in Salamanca, we play without Kevin because he cannot join us, and we have another singer, and that's not a problem, because if you read the list of musicians who played in the albums, is 15 in the first, 13 in the second, and not every time the same. So, and this is for me is really incredible, because music change every time someone add his personal touch in the song. And now for next project we have a different. We are working in a new release, and we have for some songs we have a new singer, female voice, and she's. I reveal officially. No, it's not. She is Ira Green. Is artist name, and she have a fantastic voice and presence.
So, Eva Green?
Ira.
Ira.
E-R-A.
Green.
Green. And she's a really fantastic singer, and she some years ago, I don't know how many years ago, but some years ago, she go to the final of The Voice Italy. She was and she sang Led Zeppelin song.
Ooh, that's cool.
It's interesting. Certainly, if you have it all like done and so on, we would love to hear, and we will do a post in our The Metal Galaxy group. Certainly, looking forward to it.
Yes.
So let's go maybe to a design question too, and then we are done with wrecking your head. So I'm wondering, because you have been working 20 years in the design business, I'm wondering how has it shaped during all these years? What challenges came along, and how did the perception of audience change toward design?
The difference was in the instruments, I guess, because when I started to work in the newspaper, as I said, was another era, another age. Was I worked with scissors, I worked with cow and the glue. There were a glue colored cow. I use, yeah, okay, and the articles of the newspaper was a long strip, so you have to cut and put on the pages, and was called menabo. No computer, nothing.
Okay.
For example, to color the comics illustration, the artist draw only the black, then you put on the light screen, then you put another pages on, and with the colors you draw inside the black line. So you have black line from one side and colors in another page, and this was handmade completely. So in the years, instruments changes, computers, graphic tablet, then screen tablet. Now these really change in in part helped me to create, of course, something better. Sometimes I really hate the electronic elements. Maybe for this reason I have to create some scenography. I have to use my hands to do something. I have to paint. Sometimes I realize sketches for some ideas. I have to create before sketches with hands by hands.
That's really interesting to see. You are the sketch person. Like I come from 2000, so for me it's like I only know from a computer perspective as a designer. So it's interesting to hear that was a big impact.
Think this: a lot of new artists work just on the computer, and they worked in RGB with the colors of the monitors, RGB.
Yes.
But my experience start from the beginning. So I worked with cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. So it's completely different. And sometimes when I try to explain to the new artists who show me their illustration, I said, okay, that's perfect, but this does not work for the printable parts. For example, in the board game there is the cards, the playing cards follow a completely different procedure to be printed. And one illustration good for the cover maybe is not so good for the cards because technical problems. I don't want to be boring.
Yeah. No, please don't.
But I know for my experience, and sometimes this is hard to explain. You have to study in any case what is the procedure, because sometimes it's too easy to work just with your monitor.
And yes, and that's like complicated and so on. And what I'm wondering, if there is one element, like what's your unique trademark that if you look at your design, you would say that's Paolo?
I think there is some. You can recognize me in anything I create. If you listen if you read my lyrics of the Experiment No.Q, yes, it's a story, but it's my story. In part, it's my story. Then there is Roma is a novel book, a novel song. I don't know how to explain, but is but there is a part of me inside me, and I think my trademark is believe in what you do. Just this. Every time I work in some project, I believe will be my project. I don't know how to explain in different way. That's my trademark.
No worries. Like we get like
crazy. Yeah,
like
crazy, bit crazy.
And that's
my
the best approach, I think. Yeah, it's the best approach. Is the right way to do things. Yeah.
And the puppets.
It has to be your own way. Yeah.
and yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes. For tonight, we have a guest appearance. So I'm going to put him on the stream, and then he can introduce himself.
Yes.
So who is it?
Who is it?
Hello. I recognize the glasses.
Yeah.
The wonderful glass.